Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning. Today I want to talk about prenuptial agreements, and some of you are asking me as we get ready for the wedding tomorrow. Alicia and I are getting married. You're asking me, "Hey, Doc, are you signing a prenup? Are you signing a prenup?" And I decided that instead of not responding or whatever, I'm going to tell you that the answer is yes, and I'm going to explain exactly why and why prenups are a good idea if you choose to get married. And I'll give you my thoughts on it. So, buckle up, seatbelt, get comfortable. Let's break it down. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel right now. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor. And I want to say hello to Max Jerome and Renee Collins and Raymond A. Cunningham. And my name is Corey and Raphael. And I see your congratulations coming through, and I appreciate that very, very much. In case you didn't know, if you don't know now, you know. Tomorrow, I get the honor and the tremendous, amazing opportunity to marry a beautiful Black woman by the name of Dr. Alicia, and she's going to be Dr. Alicia Watkins after tomorrow because I'm about ready to change their last name. You know what it is, and I have told you guys about our journey. Mainly because I am a big champion and believer in Black love and family, because I have explained to you guys on a lot of occasions that that family is one of the keys to wealth. I don't know if y'all know that or not, but did y'all know? I mean, most of the time when you see a lot of wealth accumulated, it's a wealthy family. When you see a lot of power accumulated, it's a powerful family. In the mafia, they are very big on families. In Nigeria, which was argued by some to be one of the greatest cultures in the world in terms of education and prosperity, it's all about family. Family, family, family. Now, here's the thing: you're Black, you're African American, many of you, and descendants of slaves. And so, why do you think they work so hard to destroy your families? They worked so hard. They worked hard to destroy your families because they didn't want you to have any power. They want you to be scrambling one by one, like low roaches, just trying to survive. Roaches running with the lights on. They stomping you one by one, and I just really want to kind of help impress upon you the importance a family. Family matters. Building institutions matters. A lot of you may have grown up in a solid family. I hope if you didn't, my heart goes out to you. But family is one of those things we grow up and we see it almost like the way you see a major corporation. I saw my family the same way you might see Coca-Cola or Google or IBM or something. Like my family was my structure, and I think it's really important to understand how that structure is critical for wealth building. In fact, the next book I've been working on for a couple of years actually is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. And among the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, a lot of that links back to family and relationships. So if you want to know why Boyce is being all chatty about his relationship, it's not just because I'm very proud of this woman next to me, and I just think Black women are amazing. They're amazing when they're amazing. I'm not gonna say that I'm not stupid. I'm not a guy who runs and calls everybody a queen or a king. I feel like you got to earn that status. I grew up in a generation where you didn't give every kid a trophy. You didn't give the fat kid that got last place the same trophy that you gave the kid who got first place. I don't know if y'all know what I'm talking about, but they started doing that crap in the 90s where they started giving every kid a trophy, and what that does is that inflates and dilutes the value of a trophy. Trophies don't mean nothing because everybody got one, right? So being called a king or a queen don't mean nothing if everybody's a king or a queen. No, you got to earn that, right? So but I do think that when people earn that status, when people are really stepping up, and Black women that have our backs and are holding it down for us in so many ways, like we should take the time to acknowledge them and show our love and support for them. So everybody maybe in the chat, name a Black woman that you love. Name a Black woman that you respect, or name a Black woman who held it down for you, because I really see my appreciation for Dr. Alicia to be part of my collective appreciation of the fact of what Black women do for me. And I told you guys years ago, if I got married, I said I'm not gonna slip and fall and tell you that I happen to marry Becky or whatever. Like that's just not gonna happen. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh well, I met Becky at the club, and dude, she was just so great, and oh my god, I never thought I'd marry her. No, no, I was gonna marry a sister. Period. So, but it's easy for me too because I like curves, and y'all know the black women got those special curves, and so anyway, with that being said, and I like intelligence too, of course. I fell in love with her brain before I fell in love with the booty, but the booty was like probably about fourth on the list. So here's the thing. So people are asking me. Some of you are asking me, am I gonna, are we gonna get a prenup? Doc, you better get a prenup, man. Better get a prenup. Yeah, I totally get that. And here's the thing. I thought that maybe talking and expressing openly about prenups and kind of how prenups can play a role in your relationships and why they should might be kind of fun to discuss. We're gonna as we get married tomorrow, which by the way we're gonna live stream it tomorrow, Friday the 21st, about 3 p.m. Eastern is about the time the live stream should go up and should be on the blacklovechannel.com. So that URL is on the screen. So subscribe to the Black Love channel if you're into that kind of thing. We have relationship therapists and stuff that come through. So it's something I think can benefit you if you're looking to build healthy relationships with other black people. Those who want healthy relationships with other black people can benefit, I think, from that platform. But anyway, so one of the things I can tell you is that when you're talking about prenups, a lot of people don't want to talk about prenups. They think prenups. I used to hear a long time ago. Give me a guess, know if you've ever heard people say things like, prenups means that you expect to get a divorce, right? Prenups means that or maybe a prenup means that you're thinking more about the money than the relationship, or whatever, right? And that's just I think that's just incorrect. There's a lot of people that think prenups means that you expect to get a divorce, and that's not true. Right? A prenup really is basically you saying just in case, because remember you live in a country where half the marriages end in divorce. Americans have a hard time staying married. Personally, I'm sorry, I'm a little old school. I kind of think some of that feminist ideology might be a little bit of a problem, and some of that crazy, some of those crazy ideas that we've had as men can be a problem too, right? So, in order to even get to the point of getting married, there's a negotiation that must occur in terms of understanding. Okay, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I need you to do, right? And that requires something that a lot of people don't have, which is the ability to let go of their ego. A lot of people have their ego and they come in and talk about this is what I demand, this is what I deserve, this is what I will and will not tolerate. These are my standards. I am not going to settle, and that's it. And I kind of think that if you say you're never going to settle, I think you're probably not going to ever get married because when you talk about getting married, what do people say? They say you're settling down. So you're settling down. So to some extent, the idea of getting married means you're settling. You're settling for something, right? Like, yeah, sure. Okay. I go around the world. I have a little bit of money. I could probably like meet a new woman every 3 months if that's what I wanted. But I said, no, I'm going to settle for one woman. I'm going to pick a really great one and make that the woman that I want to be with. And that's it. Right. So settling is not always a negative thing. Sometimes settling means your life settles down. It means that you're getting rid of the chaos and you're getting something a little more stable, a little more consistent. You're not chasing every big butt and a smile. You're not running around risking catching, STDs and babies' mamas and all kinds of drama. And I can tell you, as a man in my position, I see other men who maybe again, I'm not a real important person, but I have a little bit of internet fame. Willie D, who's in my wedding, Willie D, from the Ghetto Boys. He's he said some really nice things. I'm going on his podcast actually with him and Scarface on Sunday, and he was like, "Bro, I think you should understand how important your role is in history." And I said, "Man, I don't know. I can't really see that. I don't know what that all means, but it must mean something." And I appreciate you saying that. But the point of the matter is to say that, I know guys who have the internet fame or TV fame or whatever kind of fame they have that really think that the way you're supposed to live your best life is like growing old, going woman to woman and situation to situation. And I encourage guys to really understand that is a very dangerous lifestyle to some extent, because there are crazy people out here who will violate you. A lot of men, we don't think that we can be in danger. We think it's the women who always get violated. No, Cardi B was telling stories about how she used to, look for men that wanted a little piece of ass, and she would drug them, and then she would take all their money and maybe set them up to get raped, right? Like this is a famous person who's admitting to something that's probably being done by thousands, if not tens of thousands of people out there right now that take advantage of the fact that men let their guards down when it comes to women and running around with different chicks, right? So I really kind of think, you may want to like really not let culture, not let media tell you how your relationship should go, because sometimes they tell us men the wrong things. They tell you the things that are going to get you in bad situations or get you killed. If you look at a lot of the rappers, a lot of brothers look up to, which I really hate this. I hate the fact that so many brothers look up, to some of the worst rappers that are out here, because a lot of these guys are dying young. They die young because they had a really messed up lifestyle, where they were, because they never settled down for anything. They were getting high every day. They were eating bad food every day. They were laying down with any old woman every day. So next thing you know, when you die in your legacy, when they're talking about your last name, well, remember the man. I believe. I'm sorry. I'm probably sound old fashioned, maybe even a little sexist when I say it, but I just think as the man, like you're the rock, man. Like you're when you die, like so many people are looking up to you. Little children, that maybe grew up thinking of you as a god, they're now being confronted with this reality that you wasn't a god, you were a scrub. That you didn't stand up tall, you shrank at every available opportunity. You didn't come through for the people that needed you. You broke down and buckled like a bitch every time the situation called for you to have any type of accountability for anybody other than yourself. You spent your life going from one pleasure seeking behavior to the other. And next thing you know, you end up looking pretty bad, when your time is up, when they're at your funeral and you're 38 years old and people are looking at your legacy, they're taking an accounting of what kind of man you were, who you came through for, what choices you made. And I really encourage the men to really hear this, because, and I know this is not a popular message. Accountability amongst black men is not something that people want to really talk about, but I really think it's important to discuss that. Just like accountability amongst black women is not popular to talk about. I think if we want to have a strong communities can only be built if there's accountability. If there's no accountability, if everybody's out for self, if everybody just chasing ass, or everybody's thinking about their own ego, then you cannot build a community off of that. Can I get a yes in the chat from anybody who understands what I'm saying? Because I know I sound preachy, but maybe sometimes we need a little bit of preaching. I don't know. I'm just sharing, and you can take it or leave it. But this is something that I really firmly believe. Now, with that being said, though, when you talk about things like prenups and whatnot, just kind of getting back to that, prenups I think are fine. I think real women, I think grown, maybe little girls would be like, oh, prenup means you don't love me. But I didn't marry a little girl. I married a grown ass woman. She's a full professor of social work. She's been married before. She knows reality. And so we talked about the prenup. It wasn't some long drawn out conversation of like, oh, well, I'm not really sure. I feel like you just blah, 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 blah. No, 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 no. The conversation was very quick. It was like, okay, hey, what do you think about a prenup? Yeah, I agree. Let's get one. Okay, sounds good. And where does that come from? Well, part of it comes from, like, for men, any man who in here who has a little bit of money, you should just know, like, having a little bit of money in your bank account, it's like a woman having a big booty. If you got a big booty, you're gonna attract a lot of men who are booty men, right? You got breasts, you're gonna attract breast men, right? If you got money as a man, you're gonna attract women that like money. If you're a smart man, you'll attract women who like smart men. And the thing about money is, that when you're attracting people who like money or like you because you have money, it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. Actually, biology speaks to the idea that women are naturally attracted to men who have resources. I was watching the Nature Channel or something, and they had these giraffes, and they showed how the female giraffes would go mate with the males who had the most territory, who had the most property, basically. Like so if you are a giraffe and you're into real estate, then you're gonna get more ass than the giraffe who had no real estate. Seriously. So like this is real stuff, right? So the attraction to males that have resources is not something that makes you a gold digger. It's not something that's just tacky. And men who complain about that are usually broke men who don't know how to go make money, or men who are trying to operate or chase women that are above their pay grade. Like your guy who you make your $12 an hour. It's cool, nothing wrong with that. but maybe you're chasing a woman who's got opportunities to be with men who make $500,000 a year. So you're mad because she's not interested in you, and you're like, oh, she's a gold digger. Well, no, women, financial security does matter to women. That's why for black men, the number one thing you can learn is how to go make money. It's not too late. You can still do that. And also, if you have a son, teach your son how to go make his money, and then that way he'll have not just the freedom and security of knowing that he's financially okay, but he also has the ability to provide in a way that creates stability emotionally and otherwise for the people that are around him. Women get real, not all women, but just generally speaking, when I was writing my book, Financial Lovemaking in 2006, I found that women, on average, the ones I spoke with anyway, were really, really emotionally connected to the status of the family finances. If you're a guy who's irresponsible and you're messing up the money, a lot of women will get more angry at you than they would if you went and cheated and had a baby with your side chick. Like, seriously, I don't know, ladies, maybe you can confirm this in the chat, confirm this if you agree or disagree. But I've noticed women are really, really, really get pissed off, like, don't respect you. Like, if they got children to take care of and they're trying to pay bills or whatever, and you're the man and you're supposed to be, don't get me wrong, women and men both make money, but men are, let's just be honest, men get evaluated a little bit more by how our bank account looks than women do, right? And so women, when men mess up the money, are they coming up short, or things are needed, and the woman's feeling this crazy stress, I think it affects her differently than it affects the man. So that's just my 2 cents. But with that being said, we talked about the prenup, and it was easy. It was like, yeah, sure, of course, yeah, I want to protect what I got, and I think so. I think that when you're picking, I will say that when I chose my wife, one of the things I noticed was how she views money. Of course, she likes nice stuff, but she's not a person who's obsessed with money and obsessed with stuff. When I was single and I would meet women, I would sometimes every now and then run into a woman who was obsessed with, what it would be like to be married to a person who can get her things, right? Who can get her access to things, access to people, access to money, whatever. And that was a problem, because what that really said to me was that, okay, if I lose my money, then I lose your love. You're not gonna like me anymore. If the number one thing that's attracting you to me is money, then it's like if a man loves a woman because of her, I don't know, something simple, like, let's say, her breasts or whatever. That means that if she gets a breast reduction, then all of her attraction disappears. He's not attracted to her anymore. So you got to have somebody that can appreciate the best parts of you, but isn't obsessed with any one dimensional aspect of who you are, right? So the fact that Alicia has a profession, she has something to lose, that made a difference, as opposed to someone who has nothing to lose, who where all they have is you. The only success they have is your success. And so I know a lot of guys have a hard issue with, like, professional or intelligent or educated black women. I tend to prefer that, probably partly because I'm maybe a little biased because I have a lot of education, so I like smart women. But also, women that are smart, that have their stuff together, are a little bit better, I think, to deal with, from a financial standpoint, because you're not gaining a dependent. You're really gaining somebody who can be a really adequate partner for you. Now, the thing about a partnership, though, is that a partner is not an employee. A partner is not an employee. So that partner may not be a person who is going to fit the traditional old school norm of the man kind of defining every single thing that's going to happen. So that part has to be discussed, right? You got to kind of figure that out, because, to be honest with you, like, that stuff is tough, and because sometimes we want to do what we want to do. And so with Alicia being a professional and having her own stuff and having assets, and she's already a homeowner, all kinds of stuff like that, it was really like, okay, you know what, I'm not here to take all your money. I'm not going to take your money. Just don't take mine. And that was kind of what we sort of said. Okay, yeah, I came here with stuff, you came here with stuff, all we want is fairness. And I think that that's a really important principle for you to pay attention to. If you choose a person that you want to marry or be with, don't just watch how they treat you. Watch how they treat their worst enemy. Watch how they treat their ex. You know, I happen to, again, I feel weird telling on too many personal things, but I saw how Alicia dealt with her ex-husband. He's a wonderful guy. He's a great co-parent, and they treated each other with decency, and dignity. And what that said to me, this is just, game. This is like information for those of you who are trying to evaluate and assess situations. That was information for me, because that told me what kind of situation I'd be walking into. Okay, I got a decent guy who is the ex-husband, the father of the kids that are going to be in my house. He's not a crazy asshole. He's not some guy that's going to come in here and act a damn fool. He's very mature. He's intelligent. I can work with that because we got to all work together to raise these kids right. Some of y'all got crazy situations in your families because you got immature ass adults, who are supposed to be in charge of children. The children are watching the grown-ups fight. Well, you're traumatizing the damn kids because your egos won't allow you to settle your shit down so you can do what's best for the children. Seriously, it sickens me. It makes me so angry when I see grown-ups acting a fool in front of kids. Like, do you understand what damage you're doing to those children? You don't love them kids. You won't let the baby go see his daddy because you mad at the daddy and the daddy's cussing out the mama in front of the kids. Like, won't pay child support. Like, I hate that stuff. That stuff bothers me because I have a heart for those abused children that you're abusing. You're like, no, I love little Paquan. Nah, you motherfucker, no, you don't love little Paquan if you're cussing out his daddy in front of the baby. Like, that's not love. That's you. That's your ego. And you somehow think that that's love. No, that's some sort of weird, toxic, unhealthy codependence you have on him. And Paquan's gonna grow up feeling like he's your husband and he's your 12-year-old husband. And next thing you know, he can't move on with his life because his mama thinks she's his spouse. Like, that's terrible. And same thing is true with those guys that don't understand the importance of being mature when it comes to your kids. You got to come through for your kids, man. I mean, really, like, I'm talking about any promise you make to a child on any level, like, I'm going to pick you up at 3 o'clock. You must pick that child up at 3 o'clock. I'm going to get you a pair of shoes on your birthday. You deliver those pair of shoes, please. I'm going to call you every day or after school or every 2 days or whatever. Like, call every 2 days after school. It's real important that you really follow through on your commitments. You cannot make a promise or make a baby and then not follow through. Like, that's really damaging to children. It's terrible. So with that said, when I saw how she treated her ex-husband, that told me what I was dealing with. I said, okay, he's a decent guy. He's not going to act a fool. She's a decent person because she did not try to go and take him down and take him for everything he had. And, oh, I'm going to get that mother ucker, whatever. Like, because the truth is, fellas, like, the way she's dealing with the ex, eventually, if you become the ex, that's how she's going to deal with you. Same thing, ladies. Like, if he's talking about, oh, well, I had to punch her because blah, 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 or well, he's not taking care of his kids already, then you got no business letting that man in your bedroom. If he has children, he is not providing for, because if you get pregnant, he will not provide for your kids too. It's simple stuff and it's logical, but I think really we don't process it properly, especially when you talk about something as powerful as sex, because we think about it as just pleasure. It's just pleasure seeking, right? We don't think about it as reproduction, right? And in fact, actually, when I went to the courthouse and we signed our marriage certificate, or marriage license, they have a 3-day waiting period. Like, you have to wait 3 days to actually get married, because so you can think about it. I personally think that they should have a 3-day waiting period for sex. I really do. Sometimes I think that for some people anyway, maybe under the age of 25 or 30, there should be a 3-day waiting period before you lay down with somebody and do it with them. If they did that, the world's population would be cut in half. Seriously, there'll be so many situations that will be avoided if people took the time to think about that next choice, because sometimes we get swept away into the nonsense. So with the prenup, basically, a lot of people now are signing prenups. I don't think there's any stigma attached to that. What a prenup does, in my view, is it's another aspect of developing a solid family structure, because what it does is it creates an orderly departure. Anytime you have order, you can build. You can build with order. You cannot build with chaos. Anytime you have any kind of structure, it allows you to do things in a way that's beneficial. Peace brings prosperity. War brings destruction, right? So if you're at war with your spouse, like if y'all break up and you part ways, and you're at war and you're fighting over like who gets the couch, and trying to sabotage the process because you're mad because she got your kids and another man's in the house, or he got with the secretary or whatever, like that stuff can cause you to, first of all, it's a wealth killer. It's an absolute wealth killer. And it doesn't just kill your financial wealth, it kills your emotional capital. You're drained. I don't know, anybody ever gone through like a bad relationship and just felt so drained that you couldn't get anything done, or seen a friend where maybe they're just in this nightmarish relationship, and you notice that like for a year and a half or 2 years they weren't doing anything productive. Maybe they dropped out of school, or they weren't working on their business, or you didn't hear from them for like a year and a half, and then they come out and it's almost like they're coming out of a dark cloud, like they're coming out of a horror movie, and then they come back and they tell you all these horrible things that they were going through, and you didn't even know it, maybe because they didn't tell you. But they're like, oh yeah, I was in this abusive relationship, or man, oh my God, it was terrible. Let me tell you what she did to me. And what happens, what you got to pay attention to, is that when people are out achieving things and building things, they're doing this because that's where they're putting their energy. That's where they're putting their attention, right? So when you're putting all your energy and attention into a bad relationship, it's very, very hard for you to be out accomplishing and building things, because you can't put your energy in too many places at once. Your energy is being drained from you. So by the time you get done with all the chaos in your personal life, you can't go out and then go fight on, take on the world. So if you compare that to the flip side of that, right? If you compare an unhealthy situation to a healthy situation, maybe where you are at least getting along and not staying out of each other's way, and not trying to sabotage each other, and at best you're actually working together, then at that point you're able to do what a lot of families have done to build massive amounts of wealth and these incredible empires. They build these things around structure, where they've integrated the economic success of the family into the formal relationships. Like when I get together at my wedding and I'm seeing my children, I got children that are adopted children, and et cetera. When I'm seeing my cousins and family members and friends, well, guess what? We're sitting down, we're doing business. I talked to Willie D. He's coming through. He's in my wedding. He's one of my groomsmen. He and I did business. We were talking about something that he's doing with Scarface. Him and Scarface have a Ghetto Boys Reloaded. It's a new podcast. It's going to be on Charlemagne's network. Charlemagne's creating. I think it's called the Black Effect Network, and I think it's really great. I love what they're doing. Dr. Claude Anderson is going to be a part of it. I think Earn Your Leisure. I'm not a part of it, and I don't need to be, because I'm actually okay doing what I do, kind of independently. But I support what they're doing. I think it's really great. So the thing is that a lot of the big business, the billionaire, millionaire business that occurs in this country occurs around things like family and things like weddings. The family, the Sunday dinner. It's not just about getting together, eating grandma's cooking. It's about getting together and talking business, talking about the family business, right? So I want you guys to kind of really process that and understand that if you integrate your economic success and strength into your culture, then you have a greater opportunity to become successful, because your greatest asset that you probably don't tap into as much as you probably could is your own family. How you raise your children, all those things matter. My mother, I talk about, sometimes I get a little bit proactive when we talk about things like pro-life versus pro-choice. I happen to be pro-life, not to the point of attacking anybody, but that's just what I believe. And the reason is because when my mother was pregnant with me, she was 16, and she gave birth to me anyway. They pretty much told her, like, you need to get an abortion because this baby's not going to be worth anything, and his life is going to be terrible, whatever. I tend to disagree. And now, years later, we've had a great 49 years together, and I'm going to buy her a beach house this year, right? So it's like the way she raised me and my sister and my brother allows us to be part of her retirement plan. Like, she'll never want for anything because of how she raised her children, right? So don't think that how you raise your children, how you treat your spouse, whether you work in your relationship, doesn't affect how you turn out economically. The number one lowest net worth group of people in America, unfortunately, is single Black mothers. And I know that a lot of it's because you don't have a teammate, right? So I encourage you to be a good teammate and find a good teammate. And that requires you to really value yourself and really take your time when you talk about picking, because believe me, I took a long time to decide who I wanted to marry, if I wanted to get married, and all this other stuff. And it was because I wasn't going to be forced into jumping into stupid situations just because a lot of people can't achieve big goals because they get caught up in tiny minded bullshit, right? So don't let that happen to you. So as far as the prenup goes, of course, the prenup made sense. It was something we wanted to do. It's something that creates an orderly departure in the event that takes place. And prenups tend to be more okay with people who are. In fact, I would honestly tell you, I would be a little bit skeptical if I was marrying a woman who refused to sign a prenup. It doesn't mean she's a bad person or a gold digger, but what it would mean is that she already eyeballs what I have as her stuff. right? Because it's like, why wouldn't you sign the prenup? Like, I mean, why else? What else is going on here? So you're already thinking about the fact that if we depart, you want to make sure that you're financially protected, and that's okay if you know what you're signing up for, right? Some people do it. Some people are like, you know what, I don't mind. I don't mind sharing half my wealth or whatever. But remember that if you do that, if you don't sign something, you are taking that gamble. You're taking a gamble that that the relationship's going to last, and if it doesn't last, you're going to get, body slammed if you're the person who has the most money. And if you do that, then that at least is an incentive for you to put all of your energy into making sure that you engage in massive amounts of investment in relationship maintenance and repair. That means having a therapist that's working with you as a couple to teach you how to have healthy arguments, to teach you how to get along with each other, to teach you how to build a strong marriage. Like, there are professionals out here that can do this for you. Don't think you should do it by yourself. In fact, a lot of people have a do-it-yourself kind of mindset when it comes to relationships, and I think that's a huge mistake. I really do. I think a lot of people have that do-it-yourself ideology without understanding how difficult it is for men and women to get along with each other. Seriously, like, men and women have a hell of a time getting along because we don't understand each other a lot of times. And you have to be trained on that. Like, I had to be trained on women. I really had to study and read books and talk to people and talk to women and observe and learn to understand. Like, there's so much you have to get because they're not you. Same thing is true with men. Like, ladies, if you don't understand men, especially if you didn't grow up with a man in your house, you got to think about it like going to graduate school. Like, I would encourage you, if you really want to get along with men and pick the right one and get along with the man when you pick him, study that like a science project. Do not go into it thinking like he's going to think like you, because men, we're not like you. We're not like you. There are things I do to this day that confuse the hell out of Alicia. She does not understand, for example, why I just feel the need to throw my clothes on the side of the bed, on the floor when I get in the bed. She doesn't get that. She's like, why would you leave a mess like that? I'm like, why would I clean it up? So we have to have a conversation about it. And that's one of about 50 things I can name that she does not understand about me, and I don't understand about her. So you got to learn, and again, but also that learning requires humility. A lot of people, I've noticed, a lot of people don't like, humility is just not a popular thing. Like women are like, I ain't gonna submit to no man. I ain't gonna submit to no man. Why not? Why not submit to your man in your relationship? Same thing with men. Like, well, no, you simping, you letting that woman tell you what to do, blah blah blah. Well, why wouldn't you be, emotionally vulnerable to the woman that you love? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I mean, what are you covering up? That's another thing too. When you get men that talk about, like, I ain't sipping and I'm gonna stay hard all the time, I'm gonna be banging over breakfast. Like, guys like that are usually wimps. Those guys that have that ideology are guys typically who've been so traumatized. Maybe they were hurt by their mother or hurt by a woman to the point where they are so fragile on the inside that they use the tough guy persona to cover up deep seated insecurities, right? So I just want to encourage you, like, if you're in that category where you feel like expressing love to a woman, like when I proposed to Alicia and people saw it, there were guys who thought that was simping. And that kind of said to me, like, okay, you're not a strong man, because a strong man is a man who says, I can be vulnerable and I'm still going to be okay. Like, I'm not afraid to kind of say, hey, this is a great woman. Like, I love this woman and I'm okay with people knowing that. Right. And guys who can't do that, unfortunately, were either misguided through this pimp and hose culture that came out of hip hop. Hip hop became this whole weird thing where it was all about disrespecting women as much as possible. So they were kind of probably misled by that, maybe because they didn't have a father that they saw actually submitting to a woman on a regular basis. Pay attention. Most of the guys who have this idea that you should never, ever, quote unquote, simp for a woman are typically guys who didn't have a dad. And that's because they grew up watching 50 Cent or, some rapper, tell them how they should relate to women. So they don't understand the first thing about what it means to have a relationship. So ladies, if you pick a man like that, just know what you're signing up for. You signing up for a fucking science project. Like, he's not gonna be able to really process what healthy relationships look like unless he's humble enough to submit himself to the idea of learning a new way to relate to women. A lot of people are not humble. Same thing is true with women. That arrogance, like, I'm not gonna whatever, blah 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 blah. Well, if you grew up and it's just you and your single mama, and you never ever even had a man in the house hardly, except maybe your uncle who came by to visit every now and then, in between going to the bar. Well, you need to learn about men. You need to take your time and like really explore that and research that and talk to men and hear men and listen to men. Because one of the biggest things I've observed is that a lot of men are not honest with women because women do not even listen to them. They just spend so much time telling men that they're toxic and bad and stupid and messed up and not mature and you ain't stepping up to the plate and you ain't doing this and you ain't doing that. Don't nobody want to hear all that. Seriously, a man will honor the shit out of a woman who elevates him and respects him. A man, let me repeat that. A man will honor and love the shit. Most decent men, anyway, will honor the shit. Fellas, please confirm this for me. Will honor and just have so much respect and adoration for a woman who spends more time applauding and supporting us than dogging us and criticizing us. Look at Erica Lachey. Erica Lachey goes online and she says uplifting and empowering things to black men, loving things to black men, and black men love the hell out of her. They just think she's amazing. Like they said, she could probably get a marriage proposal every week if she wanted one, because they're like, oh my God, this is a woman I can trust and I can be vulnerable with, who's going to be nice to me and supportive of me as long as I act right. And now I want to act right for that woman because she's not an oppressive energy. She's a person that she's not a critical energy. She's not a nagging energy. It's a very positive energy, right? So I personally think that you want to pay attention to that. And I don't know why people don't listen. I also, last piece I'm gonna throw in here, and then I'm gonna go. I gotta get out of here. And by the way, we're gonna get married on Friday. We will live stream it most likely on the blacklovechannel.com. That's the URL on the screen. So subscribe to that if you want to watch the wedding, or if you, and also if you want to just hear from the relationship therapist. And we Alicia and I go on there and talk sometimes. So feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. The last piece I'll throw in here is this. When I was trying to figure out how to stay married, I don't listen to online relationship gurus at all. Most of them, I don't give a shit about. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm not dissing them. I just no. I understand what it is. Because you know why? You know why don't pay attention to most of them? It's because I look at your track record. Your track record tells me everything I need to know about what you can and cannot teach me. I look at your track record. Like, okay, so somebody who's playing the NBA championship can teach me how to be a great basketball player, for sure. He can't teach me how to be an accountant, unless I see a track record. A guy who maybe has a string of bad relationships or random girlfriends or divorces is not a person who can teach you how to have a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage. Maybe what they can teach you is how to get a piece of ass, right? Maybe they can show you how you can bag a chick. If that's what you want to know, I mean, they can show you that, but they can't show you how to have a healthy relationship. A woman who is what? She's calling me? Yes, she needs to get a hold of you right now. Okay, tell her I need 3 minutes. And okay. I have something I need to ask you. Okay, I'm talking on my live stream. Okay. Okay. All right, give me 3 minutes. I'll call you. All right. Okay, got it. All right. So my point is to say, so y'all heard me. Y'all just heard me telling them I gotta go because the wedding is tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow. So I gotta get out of here, guys. But when I was looking to figure out how to stay married, I wanted to talk to married people. That's it. I wanted to talk. I talked to my father, who's been married to my mother for 47 years. I've seen him compromise. I've seen my mother bend and compromise in ways that most people don't. I never saw them kind of approaching their marriage in a rigid way. Like, I'm not going to settle for this. I'm not going to settle for that. I never saw that. I saw them say, that's my husband. That's my wife. That's what it's going to be, period. And I really think if you're a person that's serious and you're trying to do anything in life, look at people's track record, man. I mean, seriously, like, how's some lady who can't get a man, but yet she got a degree from NYU or something, like, whatever, or what, or whatever. Like, how's that lady really gonna be a person that can really give me what I need to know to have a healthy relationship? She might be able to tell me what's in a book, but she can't really tell me how to operate that in the real world, right? And what I really believe, and again, I'm saying this as a college, you guys know I'm a college professor, right? And I know about book knowledge and I see the value of it in every way. But books come from knowledge that exists in the world. So the world is your original textbook. The world should be your textbook. So the people that are actually doing what you're trying to do, whether you're talking about trying to make $1 million, a broke person can't teach you how to make $1 million, because if they knew how to do it, they would do it for themselves. You know, a person with bad relationships can't teach you how to have a healthy relationship, because they don't know how to have a healthy relationship. They only know theory. So you need to know the difference between people that know practice and people that know theory. And I'm telling you that a lot of y'all online, especially, are getting just terrible advice. Terrible advice. So what I would say is, you know, look at people's track record. That's it. You know, like if I'm looking for marriage advice, I'm gonna look at a married couple because they can tell you the shit that ain't gonna be in a book. Right? If I'm looking to make money, I look to people that have made money, because they're gonna tell you about the little things that are not gonna appear in a textbook. So that's what I would say to anybody that's looking to do whatever you're trying to do, whatever your goal is, right? If your goal is to lose weight, you look at people that actually did it so they can tell you the things that are not going to be in the book, right? So get advice from people that really know what the hell they're doing. Don't get advice from people that are stupid, because you got a lot of sick, toxic, messed up, jacked up, fucked up people in the Black community, and some of them tend to become the biggest internet stars because they're the most interesting people to listen to, because they are so damn crazy. They are so messed up. They're so messed up that they're entertaining to hear, because they go bipolar or they have a manic episode online, and y'all love to hear that, right? At the end of the day, you know, learn from people that know what the hell they're doing, what they're talking about, and learn from people that practice what they preach. Like a man with a string of hoes is not a guy that's going to tell you anything about loving a Black woman and committing to a Black woman and having a healthy relationship with a Black woman. He don't know how to do that. He knows how to find new hoes. That's my point. Okay, so I gotta go. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys have a good day. They're calling me. I gotta go handle this. I'll talk to you guys soon. Love you. Be good. Peace.